Hey, Abby.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Getting ready for our big meeting on Thursday night.
Yeah. So we've got both applicants asking for the entire amount. Is that right?
Actually, one was slightly less.
Okay.
One was asking for 2.7, the other for 3.
Yeah. So have you guys, staff, thought through, how to kind of prioritize, these requests?
Yeah, well, we previously thought that one was coming in substantially lower, and so we were talking about the possibility of splitting the funds. I'm not
Sure.
sure if that would work because of the Davis-Bacon requirements that comes along with it. So I think it's really just going to be looking at trying to make a recommendation for just one, just selecting one. And I'm meeting with Bill Burns tomorrow. He's reviewed the pro formas and
Okay.
he has asked some questions of one of the applicants and has received a response. So maybe we'll have a staff recommendation by Thursday night. That's my hope, but I don't know yet.
We would hope, some of us would hope that too, since some of us are being lobbied quite hard by one of the applicants.
Oh, really? Okay.
So,
Good to know. Yeah, I was
yeah.
wondering if that would happen.
Yes, I don't know if any of the other committee members are, running into that same situation, but
Okay, that's good to know.
yeah.
Looks like Jen and Randy have joined.
Yeah. Hello.
Hey guys.
Hey, Jen.
Jen,
Short timer.
thanks for staying on for a while.
Sure.
So
Mayor
has
twisted your
has the
arm.
mayor found a replacement yet? Not that you could ever replace Jen, but
I don't think he has. He hasn't mentioned it to me.
okay.
I know he was busy getting all the other committees and commissions lined
Yeah.
up. I don't think he had, I'm not sure if he had found an applicant for Plan Commission. Hi, Mayor.
Hi, Abby, and hi, Jen. And Jen, thank you for agreeing to continue until we find someone who is who would be suitable replacement for you. And there's a Kurt, there's a Mike, there's a Mark, and there's a Randy. Awesome. We have a great group of people here.
Hello, Mayor.
Hi, Mike.
Should be a short meeting tonight. I can't say the same though for the June 8th meeting agenda.
You think so, Abby?
Tonight's easy, but June 8th it's a
You're
doozy.
going to be easier, right?
That's the one you're making open staff, right?
That's the one that Opitz will staff, but Kelly Hilliard has agreed to come and help him out too.
To be a backup. Yes, and yes. Oh, there's a Kathy there. Kathy Olson, City Council President, is there. All right. Well, we are going to, we are all ready to go. I think we got 2 more minutes and looks like we got the quorum. John is missing right now, I think.
We're only just waiting on John and Dan.
Yes.
And there's John.
John's here.
It's a Professor John Schaefer.
So I went on Mark's thing, which took me to the June meeting. So
All right.
I'm here.
If
We
you
try
guys
to set up the calendar invitation as soon as we set up the meeting in Zoom, just so we remember. But sometimes we have to set up the Zoom meetings early if we have a public hearing and we have to send out a public hearing notice with the
I-
information, so.
I understand. I just have to learn somehow on the email, it doesn't say what the date of that meeting is. So you click and then you realize it's the wrong one.
Yeah, kind of, I'm surprised they haven't figured that out a little bit better, but you're right. It's like an automatically generated email and it doesn't have the date.
Well, they own the world, so they don't need to figure it out, you know.
So the only one missing is Dan. So, well, you know, John Schaefer and his wife, they love flowers. If you walked on Middleton Street, boy, they have beautiful, beautiful tulips there. So daffodils as well was awesome.
Yeah,
Well, all right.
those pictures were in the Middleton in the paper, but they were misattributed to the wrong street.
Oh, well, that's all right. That's all right.
It's still a picture that counts.
Yes, it's the picture that counts, John. So, well, actually, it is 7 o'clock. It is 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting of the Middleton Plan Commission for May 25th, 2021 to order. And Abby, the first item is the roll call.
Bruce,
Here?
Murray,
Here.
Paulson,
Here.
Ramsey. Don't see Dan. Schaefer,
Here,
Slavish,
Here.
and Brar is present.
All right, that's wonderful. So I do want to say thank you to Jennifer that she's going to continue with us for some time. So, and I want to repeat that we want to keep some gender equity on the Plan Commission. I have lots of people who would want to serve on Plan Commission, but I'm interested. Well, we all would be interested that there should be some sort of a gender diversity on Plan Commission. So folks, if you know anybody, if there's a minority female, but all well-qualified women in Middleton, especially District 7, 8, 5, well, 4 would be awesome. So, okay, with that, I'm going to start with the first item, the approval of the minutes, and need a motion to approve.
Slavish moves.
Schaefer seconds.
All right, motion by Mike Slavish and second by Commissioner John Schaefer. Any question or comments or changes? I think Abby did a great job with the minutes. Okay, if there are no questions or comments, all those in favor of approval of the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Well, motion passes unanimously. We are on to item number 1. This is to schedule public hearing application for general implementation plan amendment. These are the Dream Kitchen at 3600 Venture Avenue coming to Middleton. Mark?
Hi, yes, this is a lot that is currently zoned for office use, research and office use, and what's being proposed is a home furnishing store. So this requires a GIP amendment, and we've notified the applicant. They've applied for the rezoning, and so we are recommending June 22nd at 7 p.m.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna make a motion to set the public hearing. This is class 2 notice on June 22nd at 7 p.m. Need a second.
Second by Bruce.
Okay, second by Bruce. Any questions or comments? It's just a public hearing. All those in favor of the motion to schedule a public hearing, application for general implementation plan amendment for Dream Kitchens, 3600 Venture Avenue, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We are to item number 2. Wow, we are moving.
Mhm.
Sign design review, Auto Waltz, 7913 Airport Road. Daphne and or Mark.
Yes, I'll take this. Daphne has the night off. So this is a not a PDD, so it's simply zoned B3. And so they are allowed one sign per street frontage as indicated in your staff comments. The larger sign would face Forsythia Court. The secondary sign, 22 square feet, would be mounted on the west facade, but visible to eastbound traffic, which is a bit unorthodox, but it meets with the intent, the spirit of the zoning code in terms of how it's oriented. So we are recommending approval of the two signs, the design approval of the two signs.
Okay, any questions or comments for Mark or anything which you want to say right now? My neighbor is telling that Auto Vault, they're already there. Spaces are getting sold out, so which is interesting. So anyway, they're selling those spaces, and pretty good rates. Okay, so need a motion to approve.
Schaefer moves.
Okay, need a second. Okay, we'll go ahead and second it. So any questions or comments? Well, let's see if anybody has any raised hands, and I do not see it. I don't see any raised hands, and Dan is still, oh, Dan is here now.
I am.
So,
Thank you.
okay, so if there are no further questions or comments, the motion is to approve the sign design review for Auto Wall 7913 Airport Road. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We are on to item number 3 now.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Well, my neighbors are telling me that you guys are starting to recruit, starting to rent those places. So awesome.
Yeah, we are. I think we have 5 out of the 8 units we're selling sold. So that's good progress given we're 6 weeks away from being complete yet. So thank you everyone on the call for your help along the process.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Wish you success.
Thank you.
Okay, we are on to item number 3. This is the specific implementation plan modification to expand corner retail space, Middleton Center Phase 3, 1800 Parmenter Street. Abby.
Yes, this is a request for a minor SIP modification from T-Wall. They have a tenant, it's a salon that would like to go into the corner space, but they need a little bit of additional square footage. So they're requesting a modification to add 800 square feet. It would result in a loss of 3 parking stalls, which I'm aware that there was, a parking study that was done as part of the project, and parking has been a big issue with this development. That said, given that it is only three parking stalls, our staff recommendation is for approval as a minor SIP modification. I know that Jake Buns is also here from T-Wall and can answer questions, and it looks like Alderwoman Olson has her hand raised.
All right, Kathy, let's go at it.
No, well, can you refresh my memory? How many apartments are in phase 3?
63. Jake, do you have that number?
65, Abby. 65 apartments.
65. Okay, and total parking spots is, you're looking to reduce it to 14?
Yeah, well, 14 for the unsigned area that's just adjacent to the retail space.
And what's below that?
I think in total there's 65.
I just want to say that please be cautious when you continue to reduce the parking that's at Middleton Center. I'm starting to hear like some complaints about the parking again. We started out with 334 shared parking spaces. We reduced it, we removed the lifts, and it's down to 117 stalls. And this is, we will have another final parking study after phase 3 is complete and we've returned to post-pandemic numbers and totals. So please be careful about removing any additional parking until we know more about what the parking needs are going to be. Like I said, I'm starting to hear more complaints already. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Great input. Any further questions or comments? There's a loss of, there were 17 parking lots there, and 3 are going to be taken up by this, but it adds 800 square feet of retail space. And I know in the past, they actually had, they had want to reduce the retail space. So it's actually good in a way that they are finding business there. So any questions or comments from the commissioners? And let's see, anybody raised hands? Oh, yes, Kurt Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. Can I ask Alder Olson, what are the nature of the parking complaints? Is it mostly for the businesses in the unsigned spaces?
What I have heard is that some of the businesses coming back are having difficulty finding parking spots. I don't know, complaints are complaints, and if until I go out and look at each one. I know that we started out with shared parking, and that was the idea, and now they're assigning parking per apartment. And I'm imagining now there are going to be more people working from home, so that won't, if they're assigned already, it won't affect that. But when people are coming back now, I think they're finding it more difficult. And I think I've heard complaints about, and Abby, correct me if I'm wrong, but people are parking on the street. I've heard that too.
Yes, that's what I have been hearing complaints about. I did
Overnight.
receive one complaint from an individual that was having a difficult time finding a handicap parking stall, but I reached out to T-Wall and they assisted really quickly with that complaint. Other than that, the complaint that I've been hearing is that the tenants are parking on the street. And I addressed that with Taylor and Jake last week, and they're gonna send another notice out to the tenants to remind them about where they should be parking. I'm also working with Andrea Van Nest with the DMBA on getting some changes made to help inform people about all the locations in downtown that have parking available. Daphne updated Google Maps today to add parking lots that are available in downtown to Google Maps. They weren't showing up. So for a visitor, for example, they may not know where to go. So we're kind of doing stuff on that side too, trying to get the word out and promote better about the different opportunities for parking in downtown.
But the 3 spots we are losing are unsigned, which means they should not be where apartment tenants or employees park, right? They're for customers. Is that what we mean by unsigned?
Okay, Jake, do you want to answer it? I think that's what it means. That's what I understood it to mean. But let's see what Jake Burns has to say. Jake?
Yeah, that's correct. The customers of the retail space of the salon will be parking there.
Okay, and so you would, you will make sure what Abby and Kathy has said, that people shouldn't be parking on the roadside. So I got, once we are done with this, Mike Slavish, John Schaefer, and then Dan. So Kurt, you have more questions or?
Yeah, those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay, Mike Slavish, John Schaefer, and then Dan.
Thanks,
Ramsey.
Mayor. And Jake, really, I guess this is a question for you. So does the addition of this 800 square feet in any way change the street elevation along Terrace Ave?
No, it doesn't. The additional 800 square feet is going into the parking, so it's just changing the internal layout. Nothing visible from the exterior of the building.
So is that parking? Because you've got parking that faces the railroad tracks, and then also parking that faces Terrace, right?
Yeah.
So is it the 3 stalls in the back of that parking space then?
On the screen there, I believe Abby's running the screen.
Yeah. Okay.
Those, the handicap stall, which is being moved, and then those other 2 stalls on the north side there.
So that's not changing the elevation at all then on Terrace, is what you're saying?
No, it won't be.
Okay. Yeah, that was my question, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Next one is John Schaefer and then Dan Ramsey.
Yeah, I guess, I walk my dog down through that block every single morning between 8 and 9 o'clock. And Terrace Avenue or Hubbard Street's full of cars. And I can only presume they are apartment dwelling people, because none of the businesses other than Grace is open. Grace is for generates a lot of street traffic, and you can see there's 8 or 10 cars parked all up and down Parmenter jumping in to get coffee and bring stuff home from there. But I never felt like there's a good, clear sense about here's parking inside, go in this door, even though it's commercial. That it says it's okay to park there for commercial, but nothing invites them. I think we need some different signage or something to get people to realize that if you're going to a store, you don't have to park on the street.
Yeah, John, we can address that. We talked to Taylor and I were talking to Abby last week, and there is a lot of parking available within the Middleton Center building and the surface lots that are in Middleton Center, but people just tend to lean towards the convenience of parking right in the street, hopping on their car, getting back in. So we can try to address that via some additional signage.
I mean, I wonder
but
if the stuff along Hubbard somehow had some signs that kind of restricted it for store customers instead of, so the apartment people aren't parking there so much. Because like I say, it's clearly you see 10 or 12 cars in the morning, and those aren't people there on the businesses. They're not, they're living there, I guess.
we can look into that.
Okay.
So
That's all.
Jake, we are trying to help you, the commissioners and everyone here. So I think you probably want to put a signage, but also the communication, education. So people have to know that where they should be parking. I think you want to start from the very beginning so that the habits don't form. So the habits are very hard to break. Once they start parking somewhere, it will become hard on you.
Right.
Okay, so the next one is Dan Ramsey and then Randy Bruce.
I know that as part of your application process for the apartments, you take license plate numbers for all the tenants that live there. So it would seem to me to be a fairly simple thing for your property manager to take an occasional inventory of what cars are parked on the street and whether or not they are your tenants. And if they are your tenants, then you can target those specific people that are using up spots that they shouldn't be using. It really shouldn't be all that difficult because you have all the information.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk to our property management team about that as well. We'll try to figure out a solution and move forward.
Thank you, Elder Ramsey. So Jake, we are here to help you. And, if you start very early with enforcement, it will make a difference for you and for the city and for everyone else. So next one is Randy Bruce.
This is a question for Jake. Just wondering if the cost of the parking, for the apartment dwellers, is it bundled with the rent or is it a separate charge?
Randy, I'm actually not positive on that. I don't work, I work with the property management team, but I don't, I'm not signing leases and stuff. I can double check that. But I think it is an additional cost on top of their rent.
Abby, is that your recollection?
My recollection is that it was supposed to be bundled.
Yes, my recollection is that it's supposed to be bundled, not an extra cost.
Yeah, because if it's not bundled, then someone might own a car, decide not to pay the extra cost, and then park on the street all the time.
Yeah, I thought that we've addressed this a couple different times.
I
It should
agree.
not be bundled, or it should not be
I think it's part
separate.
of the TIF agreement,
Yeah,
actually.
I can look into it. I'm speaking out of generalities because I know our project up in Neenah, that's an additional cost for parking, and that's the one I've been working on recently. I'll double check on that, and I can get back to Abby and let you guys know.
Well, because those cars parking there on Hubbard, it's not convenient to get into the building from those parking spots. So there's got to be a motivation for them to want to be there. So yes, please check that out.
Yeah, I will.
Excellent. Any more questions, Randy, or anyone else? Any more questions for Jake or Abby or anyone? Well, so the item is the SIP modification to expand customer retail space on Middleton Center Phase City, 1800 Parmenter Street. So need a motion to...
Mayor, I presume this is or Jake, contingent on whether this client wants to come in? Or is this a done deal?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we would need the approval for the salon to move forward, but yeah, there is a contingency built into there for that.
Okay,
I'll make a
so-
motion. Schaefer will make a motion to approve because I think that the parking problem is not related to these 3 stalls. It's other stuff. And I think this is to get a good business in there is important. So I move that we approve this SIP
It's
modification.
a contingent on resolution of engineering and staff comments. Engineering staff comments. Okay, need a second.
Bruce seconds.
Okay, second by Bruce. Let the discussion begin now. Any questions or comments at this time? Any questions or comments at this time? Well, I don't see any raised hands. So the motion is to approve the SIP modification to expand the corner retail space on Middleton Center Phase 3, 1800 Parliamentary Street, and the motion is to approve with minor SIP modification contingent on resolution of engineering staff comments. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And Jake, we want to help you, but please take all these comments seriously. They should not be parking on the roadside. And you will answer the other questions to Abby as well, that whether the rent includes the parking thing. So thank you. And okay, we are on to the last item of the day. How about this? This is the recommendation for approval of public art master plan. And then this is actually a fun thing, Abby. So Abby has been working on it. And I want to begin with, I know Meg McComb isn't here, but let her know she certainly did a great job, Abby. She worked hard on it, getting into all the art committee as well.
Yeah.
So in the past 11, 12 years, you have learned what works and what isn't, and you're coming up with a plan so that you can make those things happen. All right, now it's up to you. It's your field, Abby. Go ahead.
Well, we have a really active arts committee right now. They've got a lot of really cool ideas, and they kind of want to move past the old way of looking at things, which consisted of really expensive, kind of iconic art pieces that are difficult to fundraise for and also difficult to maintain over time. So they have created this document that's really intended to be a more work plan, kind of like a checklist of projects to get them focused on what they want to accomplish over the next 5 years. And so, like the mayor said, Meg McCombs from the committee, who is also a graphic designer, put the document together. She got a lot of good feedback from the committees, and we are hoping for a recommendation from the Plan Commission for approval of this document, and then we will include it on the council agenda next week for final approval of the new document.
Okay, any questions for Abby? So Abby, I went through the original plan that you had a while ago, because I went through that at that time too, but we tend to forget things. So and then also this one, you have really done an awesome job, and thank you. And also thanks to the art committee as well. So, okay, questions or comments from the commissioners?
Kurt Paulson has his hand raised.
All right, Kurt Paulson, please go ahead.
Yes, since this is an amendment to the existing plan, I'm trying to find the right page on the existing plan, but it basically talks about TIF and the recommendation to require or include. Can you talk a little bit about that more, Abby? Is that anticipated as a requirement or an encouragement?
Well, one of the other big projects that the committee is working on right now is an amendment to the Tif policy that would include a requirement for some funding for public art. there is a draft document that the committee has circulated at the last few meetings, and it requires that for any project that's receiving TIF assistance, 1% of the TIF award amount be allocated either to public art on the site of the development project, or if the developer prefers not to have the artwork included on that property, or if that property is not really suitable for public artwork, then instead that could be contributed into a fund that the Arts Committee could use to do art projects on other properties within the same TIF district. I have sent that draft document over to our city attorney to take an initial look at it. We know we cannot require public art on every project in the city, but I think the goal of the committee is to try to use TIF as leverage to get more artwork incorporated into projects, where if the developer is asking for something from the city, then the city can get something in return and help us toward our goal of implementing the plan.
Does that answer your question, Kurt?
It does. I guess the technical question is whether the determination of the TIF amount would include the public art as an extraordinary cost, so that in essence, is it the city paying for it with TIF, or is it the developer paying for it, but we're kind of fronting the money? I guess that's just a technical question as to how it's written in the policy, but.
Yep. Yeah. And I have met with one developer just to kind of float the idea by him and find out how he would finance it if it were his own project. Because one of the concerns that I had is if it's not city sponsored TIF, if they have to go and borrow for it, are they going to be able to get financing for it if it's not on their own property? And what he told me, and granted, he is an art enthusiast and has incorporated art into his own developments without any city assistance. But what he told me is that in all likelihood, a developer would write it off as a donation of funding. And public art is already included in our city's TIF policy as an extraordinary cost. So it's already covered in that way. It's just how is the fund, where's the funding coming from? And is it a requirement, or is it something that the developer can choose whether or not they want to participate in? And so there has been at least one project that got TIF funding through a request for developer finance TIF assistance, and that was the quadrant sculpture that's on Terrace Avenue on the Middleton Station apartment project. And the way we handled that is developer finance TIF repaid over the life of the TIF agreement, but it is on land that the city has a public access easement over, and we have an agreement where we are responsible for maintaining the sculpture. And we did have to do some conservation work on that sculpture. There was some rust that formed on it, and so we did have to go out and treat the sculpture actually already one time.
Any more questions for Abby? You know, we all like art, but I have been talking to Abby too. So let's find somebody who really has a lot of money and would like to, you know, start some art endowment for Middleton. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And we are all looking for folks who want to give money to art in Middleton. So I think that would be a great way to go. Any other ideas that how Abby could have more money and her art committee, and we all could have more money to have more art in Middleton? Okay, any further questions or comments? But you need a motion to approve, right?
Commissioner Schaefer has his hand raised.
Okay, all right, John?
Yeah, sorry, I just think that art is an important and critical thing. And we talk about our city and our beauty of our cities and our trees and everything else we do. And art is part of that. I'm tired of sort of thinking of art as this adjunct thing that you paste on somewhere. And I think that the most beautiful places I've been, art is integral to it. So I just want to say I support whatever we can do to find a way to fund this. And I will support virtually any action that comes up that helps this thing move forward, because I think it's critical.
I agree with you, John, and art and music go together.
Yeah,
isn't
even
it?
better than music. Music's too loud.
Oh, no, the music coming from your house is awesome.
Yeah, well, okay.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Well, so somebody's ready to make a motion here. John, so you are ready to make a motion then?
I'm ready to make a motion.
All right, so motion by Commissioner John Schaefer. I need a second to.
I'll
approve the-
second.
Okay, all right, so any further question or comments? We are recommending for approval to the city council. And this is the master plan addendum. And yes, and you got all the details. Any questions or comments now? I don't see any raised hands. Okay, all those in favor of the motion to approve the recommendation for approval of public art master plan addendum, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? So the motion passes unanimously. Any other? We don't have any item on the agenda, but I would like to say that to bring more diversity, geographic diversity, and also, you know, the gender diversity. I'm still looking for one application for the Middleton Public Library and our Public Works Committee and of course Plan Commission. And I'm determined to find well-qualified people from some of the area of the city, which is very underrepresented, which is District 4, 7, 8. So any people, and especially the women, are especially encouraged. And I do want to say thank you to Jennifer for continuing. Any other questions or comments? Your help would be appreciated, folks. Would be very much appreciated. Okay, if there's nothing else, need a motion to adjourn. I think John is ready to make a motion.
Yeah, I can't believe nobody wants to adjourn. I make the motion.
And
I'll second that.
Okay, second.
Thank you, Kurt.
Well,
I
it's
knew
a
you wanted to
beautiful-
go.
There's a
it's
delay.
Beautiful day outside there. And look at that, the downtown Madison with the Capitol. Great view there, Kurt.
Oops, wrong. That's my work Zoom background.
Okay, that's all right.
So we have a motion. We don't want too much discussion.
Yeah,
on
no
this motion.
discussion.
All those in favor
Call
of the
the question.
motion to adjourn, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Well, motion
Aye.
passes unanimously.
Goodbye, all.
7:31. Boy, this is
night.
amazing.
Good night, all.
Thank you,
Night.
everybody.
And go out for a walk and enjoy the day. So.